organizers who had invited me, and first of all, would like to give my thanks to them, the business world team, the CFOs who are sitting here, the CFOs who are outside and having tea and would like to join in next 5-7 minutes time. I first of all welcome you for this 20-25 minutes discussion on Indian economy at 2027. See, 2047 is very popular in our discussion because the government had made I can say, sankalp that by 2047 we are going to be the developed nation. But 2027 is something which we are all are interested in. I will give my insights on the subject for 10-15 minutes. Then I will try to understand your perspective also. Would like to give back my perspective and we'll try to coincide with our opinions. And if not coincided, we'll resolve at some time later. It's not necessary that everything has to be harmonized in half an hour. For last 10 minutes, I was part of the discussion. Just want to convey my good wishes to the experts who are delivering their comments on that topic. But I would like to start with a quote which I always use that in my life, that nobody can teach finance more than ourselves. So some outsider can't come and can't teach us that this you have to do in your organization and this miracle will happen. Only we have to find out where is the policy gap. With this quote, I will start my discussion on Indian economy at 2027, and I will put 5 pillars on Indian economy as far as the 2027 is concerned. And I call this as a MMDEG pillar. When I say first M, I will talk about the macroeconomic perspective of the economy in 2027. The second M will be the monetary policy stance, that what government is trying to think in what direction monetary policy may go in 2027. When I say D, I will convey that what will be the internal demand, in what sectors we can expect a boost in demand, in what sectors the demand may come down. M, D, then E, I will talk about ease of doing business, what are the things which are going to happen in next 1.5 and 2 years. And last G about the global outlook and where India is going to fit in this MMDEG, I can say, proposition. So the first M is about the macroeconomy. Everybody in the world expect, including our policy research institutions, that till FY 2028, and that I'm not saying why FY 29 is not included or why FY 2030 is not included, because they are not predicted. But till FY 2028, the Indian economy, the growth rate will be in between 6.5% to 7%. So there is no doubt about that. Whatever be the geopolitical scenario, whatever be the tensions across the world, our economy is going to grow at 6.5% to 7% for FY 27 also. There is no doubt about that. Whatever be the policies of the world, whatever the tariffs imposed by some countries of the West on us, it is not going to affect us. And we had seen in the current fiscal also that for FY 26, the GDP growth expectations are 6.6% as per the global agencies. And Reserve Bank of India had also predicted that our growth rate is not going to have any impact as far as the global outlooks are concerned. The second thing about the macroeconomic scenario, I would say that in FY 27, our fiscal deficit in the economy will be something less than 4.4%. That is bound to happen. Government is moving towards that. from 4.8, 4.6, and now sub 4.4, means anything less than 4.4% of GDP will be the fiscal deficit. The third, which macroeconomic scenario, that the corporates are going to have more cleaner balance sheets. When I say more cleaner balance sheets, the leverage positions will be comparatively low. The I can say propensity to have more leverage in the balance sheets will be there in corporates in 2027 comparing to what they are having. So this is about a broad macroeconomic scenario. That is the first M. The second M will be the monetary policy stance, the inflations. The inflation will be in the economy will be somewhere between 1.5 to 2%. That is bound to happen because of our domestic demand and because of the Atmanirbhar initiative, vocal for local initiatives. The product of most of the prices of most of the products which we consume, that are bound to come down because of the manufacturing push to the sectors which are producing goods which were consumed by the common people of our country. And because of this low inflation, like Reserve Bank used to say that we have an inflation zone, but they are going to reduce this inflation, that interest rate zone, that plus minus 2% to say 6%. They are going to reduce this. Because of that, you may expect that in 2027 the rates which are there in the economy, whether it's a repo rates or whether it's a benchmark rates which were decided by Reserve Bank of India, will be accommodative and are expected to come down by 2027. This is as far as the monetary policy initiatives are concerned. Then coming to the internal demand, there will be demands in the sectors like supply chain in the EV sector, like in the green hydrogen sector, the sectors like electronics, which is something where we are achieving every day new benchmarks, whether it's a hardware in the electronics or whether it's the software perspective of the electronic products. So the electronics is the new thing which is going to happen. There will be internal demand, there will be internal protection which is going to happen, and these sectors are going to reach the new levels. I will give you few data once I complete my 4-5 minutes discussion on this preamble. Then I will support the argument with few numbers which is there with me. That what we had achieved in electronics, what's the growth rate, what is the exports in the other items. But there are few areas, few industries which are going to see a very robust and a big internal demand. Then the E about the ease of doing business, I can expect that many old legislations are already scrapped. In the next 1.5 or 2 years, there will be a severe deregulation. And government is very committed on this deregulation. Deregulation commission is already announced. So you can expect a very severe deregulation in the way businesses are regulated by government. And government is thinking about something called as IIO, Invest, Inform and Operate. So this IIO is something which is going to give a very good, which will improve the ease of doing business in our country. And already we had achieved some milestones, but there are few more milestones which we have to achieve till 2027 and thereafter till 2047. And then comes to the global outlook. Like I always used to say, that ours is a internal demand and internal consumption driven economy. We have our own internal consumption and we have our own internal protection and internal investment. Like around 83, I repeat, around 83% of GDP is what we consume and what we produce. So the remaining 17% is dependent on the export import. So if I am saying India's GDP is 100 rupee, then 83 rupees is that I produce for myself, I consume it and I move to the next level. Only 17% is to the export import. This 17% may increase because of the geopolitical shifting which is happening, and the way India is positioning itself as a future manufacturing global hub, at least for the products which requires a more brain, which require more sophistication in the production. So this is I gave you a very broader perspective about what I see Indian economy in 2027. I will support few arguments with the data. I am having few data, and thereafter I will be open for Q&A rather than one side bath. Now coming to few data points just to substantiate my arguments on the first, that is macroeconomic scenario. I gave my numbers on the fiscal deficit in 2027, which will be below 4.4%, and the capex by government will be 3% of GDP or more than 3% of GDP, which is something around 11.21 lakh crore, which government had committed in the recent budget as a public capex. But the public capex and private capex together, I will talk about this in next 2 minutes. The second, the foreign exchange reserve will be somewhere around $700 billion, which is, I can say, instead of seeing this as a number, I can say that this $700 billion is equal to the 12 months import of the country. So for 12 months, even if I don't have any foreign transaction, I have my foreign exchange reserve to support my imports. The gross NPA is expected, and I am talking about FY27, is expected to be around 2% of the at the 2% level. The corporate leverage will be all-time low, and GST inflows will be somewhere around 2 lakh crore per month. So GST inflows will be somewhere around 24 lakh crore for the entire fiscal. What is the impact of clean balance sheets? As I told you, clean balance sheets today means that the system enters 2027 with a capacity for sustained investment upswing rather than a credit repair cycle. So this is a outlook of the macroeconomics. Then coming to the monetary policy, inflation undershoot to 1.5 to 2%, and public capex for FY26 is 11.21 lakh crore, and private capex, which was not picking up, but fortunately it had started showing the up movement, which is right now for FY25 is $6.5 trillion, and which are expected to increase, especially in the areas of renewables, data centers, metals, EV supply chain. The monetary policy is expected to be accommodative, backed by data, and the sectors which are expected to scale up in 2027 are semiconductors, electronic components, green hydrogen, grid infrastructure, warehouses, digital infrastructure, data centers, 5G pipelines, and something similar to this. As far as internal demand is concerned, as I told you, we are a consumption-driven economy, and the internal demand, we can expect a severe push in the mid-segment housing in 2027. There will be a service demand in the travel, healthcare, and financial services, which is continue to outpace the goods. And one thing which I missed is the formalization of economy is happening at the rate that every month 10 lakh people are added in the EPFO data. हर महीने 10 लाख EPFO में number increase हो रहे हैं. So this is a good pace at which the formalization of economy is happening. The informal sector to formal sector we are moving. In 2027, we can say consumption growth holds steady, and which is somewhere around 60% of GDP will be the private consumption numbers. Housing sector may continue, especially the affordable and mid-segment housing. The service sectors are going to outperform, especially in insurance, digital payments, travel and healthcare are always evergreen. And the credit support demand will be there. The consumer credit in the banking sector is expected to be somewhere around 12 to 13% of growth year on year basis. Then coming to ease of doing business, MMDEG. Around 40,000 compliances were scrapped since 2021, and this process is going to see a severe acceleration in the days to come. Urban infrastructure, which is something which is going to be there, there will be a big demand in the urban infrastructure. Every year, there is an estimate that $2.4 trillion every year an investment is required by 2050. India is adding something around 15 crore to 18 crore of new urban residents in the next decade. अगले 10 साल में 15 से 20 करोड़ रूरल से अर्बन रेजिडेंट्स ज्यादा बढ़ेंगे. That's what I want to convey. There is a state level reforms which are converging with the central government reforms. Urbanization becomes India's go-to economic lever, and execution speed is going to improve. Like especially in the infrastructure sector, that you will see a big jump in the execution of the projects, whether it's a railway projects or whether it's a high-end the road projects. Then global order and the global outlook and India's positioning. Electronics exports right now is seeing a year-on-year growth of 32%. Electronics का export 32% से बढ़ रहा है. Service exports are seeing a growth rate of 12 to 13%. And India's participation in supply chain resilience frameworks, digital trade partnership, and the climate financing pool is going to happen. The service exports will expand into sectors like GCC, that is Global Capability Centers, AI, digital public infrastructure that are going to happen. India's steady policy environment and geopolitical neutrality positioner is positioning itself as a preferred long-term horizon capital destination in the fragmented world. So I gave you what I feel what I feel that India will be like in 2027. I gave you some insights that in which direction the government is thinking, in which direction the data is flowing, in which direction the money is flowing. I gave you a bigger perspective. There are 7 minutes which is remaining with me, but we can extend this discussion. I am open for now Q&A. From my side, I just want to give you a comfort and preamble picture. Now we can have one-to-one discussion. If you have any question, I may try to answer.
It's really encouraging. You mentioned that next couple of years, the growth rate going to remain around 6 to 7%.
6.5.
6.5%.
Not 6.
6.5%.
6.5 is the lower benchmark.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So so help me understand with so many welfare schemes around, and the growth remaining 6.5 and above. What is going to contribute to reduce or breach that fiscal deficit?
See, it may sound that we are giving big in welfare schemes, but it's not like this. Like our total budget size is somewhere around 50 lakh crore. I'm talking about the current fiscal. Or maybe I can say 50 trillion rupees. And these welfare schemes will be somewhere around 5 trillion rupees, 6 trillion rupees, means 6 lakh crore. So, major thrust is right now also is on the capex. In FY26, government is committed something around 11.21 lakh, 11,21,000 crore ka public capex. That is committed. See, that's the reason you might have seen in today's news also. The Prime Minister went and had seen the development of the Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train project, and he had inspected the Surat station of bullet train, which is, I think, in a semi-finished condition. So, there are very big plans of the capex from the government side. Unfortunately, why it had happened, you know more than me because you are representing the corporate side. The corporate capex was not increasing at the same growth at which the public capex was growing. But now private capex had also started growing up. In the FY25, there is in comparison to the public capex of 11.21 lakh crore, the private sector capex is 6.56 lakh crore. मीन्स आप कह सकते हो कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर 55% 100 रुपये गवर्नमेंट इन्वेस्ट करती है पब्लिक कैपेक्स में, तो प्राइवेट सेक्टर ने 55 रुपये करना शुरू किया. But still, you might have read one news which was there in the CFO circle and the finance professional circle that the Sensex companies are sitting on a cash of 10 lakh crore. सिर्फ सेंसेक्स की कंपनियों के पास कैश 10 लाख करोड़ का पड़ा हुआ है. It means they are just exploring for a right opportunity or they are waiting. Maybe last 2-3 years, 22, 21, there is a global pandemic. Then 23, 24, corporates were a little bit cautious that how this global pandemic is going to react, what may happen. And the entire world is in the recalibration and reset mode. मतलब what I mean to say, अभी मैं CFOs जब बैठे थे मैं सुन रहा था तो मेरे मन में एक आंसर आया, एक one question someone had asked. I thought I may answer this and I would like to answer this with this quote कि पूरी दुनिया का बिजनेस रीसेट हो रहा है, दोस्तियां रीसेट हो रही है, दुश्मनियां रीसेट हो रही है. रीसेट मीन्स एंड ये जो दोस्ती और दुश्मनियां हैं ये सिर्फ इकोनॉमिक रीजन से हो रही है. सो आवर जियोपॉलिटिक्स इज आल्सो गोइंग टू बी is affected by only one reason, that is economy reason. And you might have seen countries talking like MAGA, make America great again. In Japan now they are talking about MAJA, make Japan great again. So इस रीसेट और इस रिकैलिब्रेशन में I will say deglobalization is happening. Exactly opposite of deglobalization is happening. Whether good or bad, economists can give their own theories and their own perspectives. But this is the truth. And 2027 will be like this only. That everything we are going to have something like when I say vocal for local. I just want that I should use my own products manufactured in my own country. Why? Because pandemic had shown that what is the strength of manufacturing in-house. Pandemic and post-pandemic, we had seen that the countries who are having the self-reliance in the production of everything which they consume can hold their head high on the global stage. So that is what is happening in the world, and in this recalibrated and resetted and deregulated world, the businesses are also changing. Like one example which I will give you, like in last 6 months, I had seen every large corporate had started their defense equipment manufacturing vertical. Every large, whether I don't want to name because it doesn't sound well, but every large corporate, nothing to do with defense, neither they understand nor know how nor technology based, but they started. And I am not against this, I am with this. They are doing good to the country and as well as society. And you will find that the defense procurement, which is predominantly the defense procurement we are buying from the European and the American side of the world, you will find that most of the things we started manufacturing here. So this is also one of the sector which will see a very severe growth as far as, or exponential growth as far as the 2027 is concerned. I know a couple of companies which had gone from startup to unicorn in defense sector in last 3 years. ऐसे 3 कंपनियों को मैं जानता हूं जो 3 साल में यूनिकॉर्न बने स्टार्टअप से. And by seeing their growth model, every large corporate had started a defense vertical, which is a good thing. So that is the perspective of your question.
My name is Annapurna. I take care of the finance function in ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel. I particularly like the coverage that you did on ease of doing business. And coming from the metals industry, it's a very important thing with the capex. Can you throw a little more light on the invest, inform, and operate? What is likely to come up?
Ma'am, a Team India effort. I am borrowing this Team India word from Prime Minister. When he said Team India, he means to convey the states also. Because certain regulations are there at the state side, especially the land side, the labor side, and there is a major issues as far as the ease of doing business is concerned. So certain few states, you just Google, I don't want to name, had already passed a legislation in their state assemblies about IIO. Invest, inform and operate. पैसे लगाओ, inform कर दो कि मैंने पैसे लगा दिए हैं और चालू करो. Up to certain number of years, maybe 2 years, one state had given 3 years, one state had benchmarked that up to a turnover or the top line of 50 crore, no need of any regulatory compliance. So we are also moving something in the direction which you might have heard that दुबई में एक गोल्ड वीजा मिलता है, सुबह जाके कंपनी खोलो 10 करोड़ रुपया डाल के, शाम को गोल्ड वीजा और कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेट करा के ले आओ. We used to talk about this in our tea time discussion with our colleagues. US is also giving the similar thing. We are also giving like हम एक काम कर रहे हैं कि जैसे ही टैरिफ लगा हम पे, टैरिफ लगा और जो वातावरण है उन देशों में, तो हमारे बहुत से लोग हैं वहाँ पे, स्पेशली इन द स्टेम सेक्टर, साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, इंजीनियरिंग और मैथमेटिक्स के सेक्टर में. वी हैड ऑलरेडी अनाउंस्ड वन स्कीम कि जो स्टेम प्रोफेशनल्स हैं इनको वापस रिवर्स ब्रेन ड्रेन, और इनको हम एक जोन बनाने का एक प्लान है कि जहाँ पर ये आके रिसेटल करें, और जो इनकी रिसर्च है या जो इनके स्टार्टअप्स हैं उनको वो यहीं से प्रॉस्पर करें. एंड वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू हैव एनी सीवियर रेगुलेशन ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस. सो IIO is typically not one government plan. All governments has to sit together. All governments means government of India as well as the state governments has to sit together and make or can make or reduce the hurdles which are there in doing business in India, especially in the startups, especially in the MSME, especially in MSME also micro. SME I can tolerate some regulations, but if I am having I am a professor and I developed one model of logistics supply chain. Now to start my thought into a business, it's very difficult. So we are reducing those hurdles, and it is Delhi plus state capitals together is going to come out with this.
Just want to ask that we have experienced very little success in terms of job creation. Specifically, our contribution from manufacturing sector has not grown in last 10-15 years. And that is impacting new job creation as well as the people who are existing jobs.
I understand.
All these are CFOs, they can understand average salary hike in last 10 years is just to compensate the inflation part only.
So I got it. And you had a merit in your question.
We have seen India's progress, and which is appreciated by everyone. Unfortunately, but the global rating agency, only S&P has upgraded us. The other two agencies have not upgraded us. So, in your view, what is that which is preventing the upgrade, and what is that which the outside rating?
You are talking about sovereign debt.
Yes.
I asked.
This question is on inflation. You talked about likely reduction in inflation in 2027. the numbers on inflation which we see is about 4%, 5%, even 3% headline as well as the wholesale. Now, I keep interacting with some of my friends who are into, running small startup or business, and they keep, the account of their monthly expenditure on family. They said that we see over last 4-5 years, we see inflation over 10% plus. So, how does this reconcile with the government published inflation?
My question is on per capita income, right? On equitable growth and equal
Got it.
opportunities for everyone. Now we know 50 lakh crore is the government budget. When you look at education, when you look at health, two primary sectors not seeing much growth when it comes to budgetary allocation from the government. That's the first theme. The second is women labor force participation has been stagnating in the country. What more can be done by both corporate as well as government? And the third is too much of dependence on agriculture as a sector. 40% of employment in agriculture, 14% GDP contribution, 2% growth. Right. So how do you come out of this and become a manufacturing economy? Right.
I am Rahul Mahashabde from Post Marshal. I would like to have your view on which are the two most important structural reforms which can take this growth, GDP growth to 2% notch up.
Same answer, same question which is asked, how we can increase our GDP when the inflation is in control.
Numbers 10 लाख करोड़ लिक्विडिटी बैलेंस शीट्स में है इन सेंसेक्स कंपनीज एंड 6.5 लाख करोड़ का ये ओवरऑल प्राइवेट कंपनीज इन्वेस्ट कर रही है. We would like to know your views on free trade agreements, past and future.
Tariff impact continues the way it is, and are we going to get any benefit?
हम हमारे लोगों के लिए बनाते हैं, वो उपभोग करते हैं, हमारी इकोनॉमी चलती है. जो मैं और आप क्लास 8, 9, 10 में पढ़ते थे कि पॉपुलेशन बहुत बड़ी समस्या है देश की आर्थिक प्रगति के लिए, अब उसी टेक्स्ट बुक में ये लिखा होना चाहिए कि ओनली स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ इंडिया और द बिगेस्ट स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ इंडिया इज इट्स पॉपुलेशन. तो 80% जीडीपी तो यहीं से आ गई कंजम्पशन से. रही 20%, तो 20% का भी 20% अमेरिका से है. तो आपका कितना एट द मोस्ट जीडीपी का कितना इंपैक्ट होगा अमेरिका से? 20 का 20% कितना होगा? 4%, 4% ऑफ जीडीपी. 4% में से भी 80% से 60% जो चीजें हैं उन पे टैरिफ एप्लीकेबल ही नहीं है. मतलब जो न्यू रेट्स हैं वो स्पेशल क्लॉजेस में है, जैसे जेनरिक ड्रग्स, वो उन्होंने उस पे लाया ही नहीं है. बट तो 60% 4% का निकल गया, तो 4% का 60% कितना होगा? 2.4. अब पीछे कितना बता? एट द मोस्ट इकोनॉमी पे कितना इंपैक्ट हो सकता है? माइनस साइड 1.4. अब उसका हमने क्या किया? व्हाट इज द इंडियाज रिएक्शन एंड व्हाट इज गवर्नमेंट रिएक्शन? सबसे पहले तो 20 लाख रुपए 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम को टैक्स फ्री कर दिया. तो एडिशनल 1 और 1.5 लाख करोड़ रुपया कंजम्पशन में डाल दिया, क्योंकि जो लोग 12 लाख रुपए तक की इनकम पे वो कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन लोग हैं. वो जैसे ही आप उनका टैक्स कम करोगे वो अपनी क्वालिटी ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर को इंप्रूव कर देंगे, वेदर हेल्थ, एजुकेशन, दिस एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. दूसरा, हमने रेट रैशनलाइजेशन जीएसटी में कर दिया. उसका नतीजा आप देख रहे हो कि सेल्स नंबर्स कार्स के आ रहे हैं. मर्सिडीज कह रहा हर 6 मिनट में एक गाड़ी बेच रहा हूं. मारुति बोल रही है मैंने 2 लाख गाड़ियां बेच दी. द नंबर्स आर कमिंग आउट ना. जो व्हाइट गुड्स है, टेलीविजन, फ्रिज, रेफ्रिजरेटर, जो लो इनकम ग्रुप है वहां पे वो पेनिट्रेट कर रहे हैं. फ्लैट टेलीविजन, डबल डोर रेफ्रिजरेटर्स, दे आर पेनिट्रेटिंग इन दोस. तो हमने इस 1.4% को नेगेट कर दिया और कंजम्पशन बढ़ा. तो हमारा ऊपर राजी हो जाए तो ठीक है, नहीं राजी हो तो भी ठीक. आप समझ रहे? राजी हो जाएगा तो तुम्हारी और मेरी दोनों की दोस्ती अच्छी रहेगी, दोनों आनंद से रहेंगे. नहीं राजी रहेगा तो हमने तो हमारा कर लिया काम. एंड वी आर प्राउड टू से, India is the only country in the world, as per my knowledge. If I am wrong, you just correct me. India is the only country which had not reacted. हम तो अच्छा, आपने बोला मैं आपसे इकट्ठा हो जाऊंगा, मैं बोल ठीक है. अब आप बोलो नहीं मैं आपसे कभी कभी शनिवार संडे बात भी करूंगा, मैं तो Are you getting my point? All other countries ने बोला मैं कट्टा तो मैं भी कट्टा. We have not done that, and that shows the maturity of the government, and that shows the maturity of the democracy of our country. That we are not reacting. We are not rushing. हम अचानक से भागे नहीं, अरे ये मत करो ये करो. We are doing our own. हमने हमारे जो चीजें हैं उसको हमने वापस रीडिजाइन कर दिया. हमने जीएसटी को रेट रेशनलाइजेशन करके कंजम्पशन और बढ़ा दिया. तो जो मैं कह रहा हूँ 80% ऑफ जीडीपी इज कंजम्पशन ड्रिवन, अब 85 हो जाएगा, नए नंबर्स आएंगे. फिर आपने पूछा कि दो ऐसे कौन सी चीजें करें कि 2% ग्रोथ प्लस हो जाए. देखिए एक ही चीज बताता हूँ 2% का, और दूसरा बताऊंगा उससे 4% हो सके. द फर्स्ट इज द एमएसएमई सेक्टर. फोकस ऑन दैट. Large corporates are doing well. There are a lot of people to hold their hands, but we require a original micro, small and medium enterprise. When I say original, I don't want aggregators. I want something original. मैं एग्रीगेटर्स नहीं चाहिए कि आपके घर में सैलून भेज दूं, आपके घर जूते नए भिजवा दूं, आपको ऑटो भिजवा दूं, आपको पेन भिजवा दूं, आपके नोट्स बना दूं, आपके ऑफिस का काम हल्का करने के लिए एक असिस्टेंट भिजवा दूं. दैट इज एग्रीगेशन. I require a solid MSME with a solid idea, and that solid idea, when I say, should have a scientific background. Otherwise, aggregation is not a solid idea. Something like solid, that I have developed this tool that can improve the efficiency by 10%. I had developed this carburetor by which, if you are going to put in the existing IC engine, your average will improve by 5%. I require those kind of ideas. So इससे 2-3% हो जाएगी. And second, अगर हम comfort दे दें already doing business को, तो another 1.5-2% और हो जाएगी. जैसे आपको एक example देता हूँ, and you will laugh if you are not aware of this fact. हमारे जो अगरबत्ती बनती है उसकी जो सीख है जिसपे वो लेप सराउंड करते हैं, वो चाइना से, वो जो सीख की डंडी अगरबत्ती की जो रोज हम भगवान के सामने फेंकते हैं, वो डंडी चाइना से आती है. आर यू अवेयर ऑफ दिस फैक्ट? आप चेक करना कि वो जो डंडी जिसके ऊपर हम इंजन छाप अगरबत्ती और देवता छाप अगरबत्ती और कई ब्रांड्स हैं, पर वो सब ब्रांड, वो जो मसाला है लेप वाला, वो तो इंडिया में बनता है, पर वो सीख वहां से आती है. क्यों? क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ वो जो बैम्बू है उसमें एक इश्यू था कि भैया ये ट्री है कि प्लांट है कि इसको काट सकते हैं नहीं काट सकते, वो तो बैम्बू की स्टिक ही होती है ना. तो अगर हम ऐसे 50-100 आइटम्स जो कि नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू बी एक्सपोर्टेड है उसको ले ले और उसको डोमेस्टिकली प्रोड्यूस करे, तो आधा 1% तो यही से बढ़ जाएगी जीडीपी. सो माय आंसर, आपने पूछा क्या करें, फोकस ऑन एमएसएमई. इन एमएसएमई आल्सो एसएमई को थोड़ा सा साइड में करके माइक्रो के पीछे लगो, और माइक्रो को जो स्ट्रॉन्ग ओरिजिनल आइडियाज है उनकी हैंड होल्डिंग करो. एंड सेकेंड, ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को और कंफर्ट बनाओ for large as well as MSMEs. And the third one, जो unessential exports हैं, which are not required, which we are having in our country itself. अरे बैम्बू हमारे से बेटर कौन बना सकता है, कौन दे सकता? हमारे पास तो पूरे जंगल है बैम्बूस के नॉर्थ ईस्ट में, अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्री में, पर हमने उसको प्रोडक्ट को सोचा ही नहीं कि हम इसको यूज कर सकते. तो नॉन एसेंशियल को करें तो हम इस पे चल सकते हैं. फिर आपके 2-3 सवाल थे एम्प्लॉयमेंट पे और इनकम डिस्पैरिटी पे. पर कैपिटा पे आपने एक सवाल मुझसे किया कि पर कैपिटा हमारी और नहीं है. हाँ, वी आर 4th लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी, बट पर कैपिटा में हम फर्स्ट 100 में भी नहीं. एग्री? नो आर्ग्यूमेंट अगेंस्ट इट. इनकम इनइक्वालिटी है, इश्यू है. एग्री? मैं इसको खारिज नहीं कर रहा हूँ, इसको एक्सेप्ट कर रहा हूँ, पर फॉर दैट रीजन आपने मेरे से एक क्वेश्चन इन्होंने पूछा था कि वेलफेयर स्कीम्स, अरे इतनी डिस्पैरिटी में अगर वेलफेयर नहीं करेंगे तो कैसे काम होगा? When I am saying I am fourth largest economy and which is going to become the third largest in the next 1 year, अगले 1.25 साल के अंदर मैं थर्ड लार्जेस्ट बन रहा हूं, और ये कोई मिरेकल नहीं होगा क्योंकि मेरी ग्रोथ रेट जो थर्ड पे नंबर पे बैठा और जो मेरी ग्रोथ रेट है मैं उसको क्रॉस करूंगा. दिस इज सिंपल मैथमेटिक्स, दिस इज बाउंड टू हैपन. तो इस डिस्पैरिटी को कम करने के लिए तो ये वेलफेयर स्कीम्स है ताकि डिस्पैरिटी एट द टू सर्टेन एक्सटेंट कम हो. पर इसको लॉन्ग टर्म में कैसे कम किया जाए उसका क्वेश्चन उन्होंने पूछा मुझसे, जब उन्होंने कहा कि ये मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से बढ़ ही नहीं रही हमारी. तो एग्री, वो क्यों नहीं बढ़ रही, उसका एक स्ट्रक्चरल डिफेक्ट है, उस डिफेक्ट को रिपेयर करने की जरूरत है. वो गवर्नमेंट कर रही है. क्या डिफेक्ट है? दुनिया की कोई भी इकोनॉमी एक्सेप्ट भारत कैसे बढ़ी? पहले खेती करते थे लोग, फिर उस खेती का प्रोडक्ट बनाते, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करते, फिर उस प्रोडक्ट की एफिशिएंसी बढ़ाने के लिए एक सेक्टर आया जिसको सर्विस सेक्टर कहते हैं. हमने क्या किया, खेती से सीधे कंप्यूटर बना के पे बैठ के काम करना चालू कर. खेती कर रहे थे 1991 तक, ओपनिंग अप ऑफ इकोनॉमी हुई, हमारे पास अंग्रेजी बोलने वाले लोग थे, इंटेलेक्चुअली कैपेबल और साउंड लोग थे. इमीडिएटली हमने प्रोग्रामिंग को पकड़ा, समझ लिया, पूरे ग्लोबली छा गए और इंडिया को आईटी हब ऑफ द वर्ल्ड बना दिया. इंडियंस को आईटी मोस्ट साउंड आईटी इंटेलेक्चुअल बना दिया इंडियंस को. तो हमारी जो विकास की यात्रा है उसमें मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को हमने जंप मार दिया, जो कि दुनिया का कोई और देश ने नहीं किया. बाकी देशों की यात्रा कृषि, कृषि से निर्माण, निर्माण से सर्विस. अब वो जब जंप मार दिया तो दूसरी जो इकोनॉमीज थी आसपास की, उन्होंने इस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जो यहाँ नहीं हो रही थी, उन्होंने हमारे लिए मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वहां करनी चालू कर दी. इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल उन्होंने ले लिया अपने अपने देशों में. अब उस इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल के लिए के कारण हमारा जो प्रोडक्ट है वो पर यूनिट कॉम्पिटिटिव नहीं हो पाता. दैट इज अ प्रॉब्लम, बट गवर्नमेंट इज रिजॉल्विंग दिस. गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग बाय, जैसे एक पीएलआई इनिशिएटिव है, तो पीएलआई इनिशिएटिव ने ग्राउंड लेवल पे गिव ए वेरी गुड रिजल्ट्स, स्पेशली इन द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक. जब मैंने आपको एक डाटा दिया कि 36% ईयर ऑन ईयर ग्रोथ है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इक्विपमेंट्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में, तो ये पीएलआई का ही तो कमाल है. जब मैं कहता हूं कि 1 लाख करोड़ every year 1 lakh crore rupees of mobile we are exporting to the other countries of the world. So this is also because of the PLI initiative, and there is a thrust on this, and there is the problem I had shared. Lot many other initiatives also government is trying to develop for this sector. और manufacturing जब develop होगा तो sustainable employment मुझे वहां मिलेगा. तो मैं उस समय जो ये सोशल सेक्टर स्पेंडिंग का जो क्वेश्चन पूछा, मैं उसको रिड्यूस ग्रेजुअली करूं. दैट इज व्हाट इज माय प्लान फॉर नेक्स्ट 4-5 इयर्स कि मैं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को थ्रस्ट करूं, वहां पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट करूं, सो दैट जिन लोगों की मैं हैंड होल्डिंग कर रहा हूं इन द फॉर्म ऑफ 5 किलो राशन और मे बी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ किसान कल्याण और मे बी इन अदर फॉर्म ऑफ सब्सिडी, वो कट करके फिर मैं इनको स्ट्रीमलाइन करूं. दैट इज माय, एंड इसमें घबराने की बात नहीं. दुनिया की विकास यात्रा में पहले ग्रोथ अचीव होती है, फिर उस ग्रोथ के फ्रूट्स नीचे जाते हैं. ऐसा नहीं होता है कि पहले दिन मैं बोलूं कि 7% ग्रो है तो इस हॉल में सभी बैठे लोगों की इनकम 7% ग्रो करेगी, नहीं हो सकता. कुछ लोग आउट परफॉर्मर्स होंगे जिनकी इनकम 700% ग्रो करेगी, कुछ लोग 1% पे ग्रो करेंगे, कुछ लोग स्टेबल होंगे. पर जैसे ही वो 700% वाले लोग देखेंगे कि और लोग ग्रो नहीं कर रहे हैं तो वो अकेले नहीं रह पाएंगे, और जो लोग कम ग्रोथ से ग्रो कर रहे हैं तो वो उनको देख के वो ग्रोथ वहां से चालू. तो दिस इज ए फिनोमिना और द जर्नी ऑफ द ग्रोथ ऑफ एवरी नेशन. सो नथिंग रॉन्ग about this growth story, but there are cautions that employment per GDP per capita, income inequality. These are the challenges, and government is aware of these challenges, and every year we are trying to resolve these challenges, and the results are also showing कि कुछ इन challenges में काम हुआ है. ऐसा result में भी दिख के आ रहा है कि भाई इनकम जीनी इंडेक्स क्या था पिछले साल, इस साल जीनी इंडेक्स क्या है इनकम इनइक्वालिटी का. तो थिंग्स आर इम्प्रूविंग, नॉट एट ए वेरी रैपिड स्टेज, नॉट एट द लेवल की मतलब 2 साल में इस प्रॉब्लम रिजॉल्व हो जाए, पर दैट इज व्हाट आवर टारगेट इज 2047 विकसित भारत. For last 3-4 years, the prices which my tailor charge for per jacket stitching is same. The material for this jacket which I am buying is same. So आप जो एक्स्ट्रा कंफर्ट की चीजें है उसको आप अगर कम कर दोगे या उसको अपसाइड नहीं करोगे तो इन्फ्लेशन की फीलिंग नहीं है. The prices of essential commodities may be atta or maybe dal or maybe cooking oil or maybe ghee or maybe a very basic shoes. The prices are not increasing. About the retail inflation numbers, which were 12 साल के lowest numbers, I think 0.25%. If I'm not wrong. 0.5%. 0.5%. 12-year lowest numbers. But yes, if we improve the quality of life, if जैसे आज जैसे मैं सुबह एक इकोनॉमिक डेली में पढ़ रहा था कि न्यू ईयर के लिए बुकिंग्स ही नहीं मिल रही है, flight tickets on major holiday destination for New Year not available. Flight ही नहीं है, forget about hike in the prices. So that is because what I say, the society or the generation which is there in our country right now, and this is an economic challenge also. I will give you one example. My father, whatever he used to earn, he used to save 60%. He used to spend 40%. I am saving 25%. Whatever I am earning. And the next generation which is going into the workforce is minus 25%. Not saving, overspending. Means they are having credit card due of 25% which is ever greening or ever rotating. तो वो स्पेंडिंग पैटर्न जैसे ही हो गया, एंड पोस्ट कोरोना आल्सो स्पेंडिंग पैटर्न में चेंज हुआ है. एंड दिस इज इकोनॉमिक रिसर्च कि पोस्ट कोरोना पीपल हैड स्टार्टेड स्पेंडिंग ऑन देयर कंफर्ट्स, ऑन सीइंग द वर्ल्ड. वो अरे कभी भी कुछ भी हो जाता है, पीपल हैड सीन 1.5 years ना, तो पीपल स्टार्टेड लिविंग more luxurious, comfortable. Everybody is talking. जैसे during the tea time, we used to talk. अरे यार कभी भी कुछ भी हो सकता है. जो स्पेन जाकर देखना है मैड्रिड तो आज ही देख लो इसी साल, पता नहीं कब क्या होता है. So that because that inflation is because of that mindset which is happening. Otherwise, at the ground level, if your spending is for the common products, the inflation is not. Anything which I think sovereign rating. हाँ सॉवरेन सर, ये जो रेटिंग एजेंसीज है इनके बारे में ये रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं, मैं कुछ बोलना नहीं चाहता. इंडिया इज थिंकिंग ऑफ देयर ओन सॉवरेन रेटिंग एजेंसी, क्योंकि ये दूसरी जो वेस्टर्न रेटिंग एजेंसीज है, हमने सॉवरेन में बहुत काम किया. आई एम हैविंग फुल डेटा. हमारे जो वेदर परसेंटेज ऑफ डेट ऑफ जीडीपी इज फार बेटर देन द वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड, बट दे आर नॉट रिकॉग्नाइजिंग. So I will say with heavy heart that I don't value these ratings as far as the sovereign rating is concerned, and India is thinking of promoting its own domestically driven rating agency which can give the ratings for the other countries of the world also. FTA free trade agreements हम कर रहे हैं because जैसे मैंने आपको एक पॉलिसी रेस्पॉन्स बताया कि हमने कंजम्पशन इंक्रीज करके टैरिफ का एक हमारा प्लान बनाया, वैसे हम कुछ नए मार्केट्स ढूंढ रहे हैं which we can substitute some products which are heavy on the US side some other markets like handicrafts, furnitures, gems and jewelry. ये सारे जो सेक्टर्स हैं एक्सपोर्ट में यूएस डिपेंडेंट. वी आर ट्राइंग टू सर्च सम अदर कंट्रीज वेयर वी कैन हैव. तो ब्रिटेन के साथ हमने किया, यूएई के साथ हमने किया, ईयू के साथ हमारी लास्ट लेवल की बातचीत चल रही है. तो दिस इज ए ग्रेजुअल पॉलिसी रेस्पॉन्स एंड वी वांट टू डाइवर्सिफाई आवर पोर्टफोलियो रादर देन आई डोंट वांट कि मेरा जेम्स एंड ज्वेलरी 100 रुपए का एक्सपोर्ट होता है सिर्फ एक ही कंट्री को होता है. आई वांट टू डाइवर्सिफाई. मेरा हाई एंड हैंडीक्राफ्ट और फर्नीचर एक्सपोर्ट होता है वो सिर्फ एक ही कंट्री को होता है. आई वांट टू give something to Germany, something to Japan, something to UK, something to UAE, something to Kuwait, so that my risk of policy concentration or to one country can be diversified. Women participation, you are vertically wrong, sir. Women participation देश में बढ़ा है as far as the job is concerned. जो पीरियडिक लेबर फोर्स सर्वे है उसमें विमेन पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ा है और वुमेन ने तो क्या क्या करके दिखाया. कल ही आपने देखा होगा महिलाओं की ताकत एक राज्य में. तो विमेन पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ा.